Let's take a look at the homework number 12 assignment. Notice that you do not need to complete 5 for each of these categories. So look to see how many you have to complete for full credit. The first topic is to create your own frequency table. You'll notice that they give you the data here in rows. And as you read each value, 15, you click once in the correct interval. So 15 would be in this interval. That's one tally mark. Now there's another 15. It's a second tally mark. Then there's a 17, and a 14, and a 5, 1, etc. After you've fully tallied each item, right, crossing them off as you go, after you finish the tally column, you type the actual value for each tally on the right. Submit your answer, and you're all set. You only need to complete 2 of these. Finding the mean from a frequency table. So, to find a mean, that means you have to add up all of these values and divide by how many there are. So in order to calculate the mean, you would have to take each of these values times their score. So we'd have 9 60s, 8 65s, right? 2 70s, etc. We'll go all the way down this list. And then once we find that entire sum, we're going to divide that by how many items there actually are. So we'll go down here and I'm going to say, okay, that's 10. And that's another 10, that's 20, that's 30, 36. So I'm going to divide by 36. And that's how I'm going to find the mean. And once I get that mean, I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth. Once I type all the values in as a fraction, and I compute, my answer will be written as a fraction. And if I want to convert that to a decimal, I click the math button, and I choose number 2. Which will convert my answer to a decimal. So 72.9 is my answer rounded to the nearest tenth. 72.9. And that's how you calculate the mean. In the next topic, you're going to interpret a dot plot. And it's going to ask you questions about this dot plot. It could be anything from what's the min, what's the max, to what's the median. So let's take a look at this one. What's the lowest score? It's 60. I'm going to answer a couple of questions here in this category, because you can get asked all different types of questions. So what was the shortest time someone spent brushing their teeth? Again, that's a minimum question. The minimum value was 1 minute. Let's try another one. The next one is how many students scored, all right, how many students have a name that's shorter than 5 letters? So none, right? So this is 5 letters, so none are shorter than 5 letters. We can do another one here. What was the highest score? This one was 100. Trying to see if I get a question that is more challenging. How many games have the students played? All right, so in this game, they scored 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, etc. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 dots. So 11 games were played. How many students have a name with 6 letters? 3. How many students scored less than 75? So it would add up 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I think you are good for interpreting dot plots. Let's go back here. Let's interpret histograms and bar charts this time. So here we have a histogram, and they're asking us how many students were surveyed. All right, so there were 2. See how the bar goes up to 2? So there were 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Plus another 3 is 17, 19, 22 and 122. So there's 22 is the total height for all of the bars. Next problem, what was the lowest possible temperature that could have been recorded? So it ranges from 40 to 69. So 40 is the lowest. So we don't know if it was 40, but the lowest possible could have been 40. But that bar doesn't actually tell you exactly what the data is. All right, let's create a histogram. You only have to do one of these. For the next one, you only need to create one histogram. So these are the intervals, 35 to 39 degrees, and there were 2 days that were within that range. So we're going to create click and drag to make a rectangle. So we're going to click and drag like this or like this. We can make a rectangle, and then we need to label it down here that it's from 35 to 39. You click and you drag to the right. Click and drag to the right or drag up, but be sure that you are using the boxes here that are next to it. Let's see, the next one will be 40 to 44, and that will be 4 rectangles high. So I'm going to go up to 4 and drag down. So 40 to 44. My next interval is 45 to 49, and there are 20 of them. So I'm going to start at 20. I'm going to drag down. And I'm making each of mine 2 boxes wide. So that's 45 to 49. 45 to 49, done. Next one is 36 in the 50 to 54 range. So click all the way up here at 36 and drag down. It's 50 to 54. And then 55 to 59 is 26. Start at 26 and click down. 55 to 59. And 60 to 64. Again, click at the highest number and drag down. And that's it. When you label your intervals, make sure there's no spaces between them. Make sure there's no spaces between your bars. And click from the highest value, drag down. That's the easiest way to do it. All right, let's interpret a box plot by finding these answers to these exact questions. What percentage of the data values are between 44 and 76? So from 44 to 76, that's the interquartile range, right? 25 here, 25 here, 25 here. So there's 50% in that area. There's 50% in that box. So 50% of the data is there. Let's see what the next question asks. You only have to do 2 in this category. The next question asks, what is the range of the data? That's the lowest value here, which is 2, 4, 6. 6 all the way up to 38. So 38 minus 6 is 32. So the whole range of this data is 32. Next is to create your own box and whisker plot. So you're going to type all of this information into your TI-84 calculator. And you're going to do that by pressing the Stat button here, editing your data. If there's anything in there, you can delete it or clear it. So we're going to enter 3, 4, another 4, 4, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12. Okay, check that all your data is there. Let's see if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 data points. Although I could have just figured that out here by pressing Stat Calc, 1 variable stats, enter 3 times, and that letter N would have told me there were 14 values, right? So I'm going to arrow down so I can see my 5 number summaries here. So starting at 3, it's my lowest, so drag this to 3. My Q1 is at 4, so drag this to 4. My median is 8.5, so it needs to be halfway between 8 and 9. My Q3 is 12, and my max is 16. So I'm going to type those numbers in here. My min is 3, my Q1 is 4, my median was 8.5, my Q3 was 12, and my max was 16. All right. or center and spread visually. So we have two box plots here that we're going to compare. So based on the two data sets represented below, complete these statements. The center of data set R is the median, and that is greater than the center for data S. The spread, which is the range of data set R, which is from 79 to 93, is less than the spread of the data set S, which is 73 to 92. All right, so the center is the median, and the range is the spread. Okay, how many students have a name with 8 letters? We're reading a dot plot here, so that's 2 students with 8 letters. How many students were surveyed? So I have to add up the height of each of these bars. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15. So I added up all the heights of those bars. Same thing, what is the range of the name length? So the lowest is 2, the highest is 10, so the range is 8 letters. Last one, on how many days was the temperature more than 64? So that would be this last bar here, so that would be 1 day. 1 day. All right, let's go to our last few sections here. Last one, interpreting calculator outputs. So this is what happens when you calculate one variable statistics. So determine the population standard deviation, right? So I showed you that here in the notes, that these two values here are standard deviation. So we're going to use this one here, theta x. Theta x. The population standard. The population standard is theta x. So the answer is going to be 20, rounded to the nearest hundredth, 26.98. Okay, next problem. Determine the interquartile range. That's the distance from Q3 to Q1. So 268 minus 234. So 268 minus 234. Interquartile range is 34. Determine the mean. Well, this one here, the x bar, is the mean. 10 to the nearest hundredth would be 78.43. Based on the calculator output, determine the range of the data set. So that's the min to the max. So the min to the max would be 224 minus 146, and that's 78. All right, that concludes the video for homework number 12.